light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up, go dumb, go stupid, yeah, we undefeated, sucker free, we got the seats heated, hot, let's face it, you about to get a beat down, less talking, let's take it to the streets now, ain't gonna be no rematch, why you wanna fight, touchdown on sight, yeah, turn off the light, oh, turn off the light, let's get it poppin', go dumb. When you see me moving, bodies dropping. Move some. I'm about to go sick. Call Earl. I'm turning up like E40, not your average girl. I'm turning up. We can rock like Rocky. Make you tap it. Ghost ride the whip. Look at my drip. This ain't a copy. We got a night if you wanna throw hands. When they see me fight, they wanna throw bands. Go dumb, go stupid. Yeah, we undefeated. Sucker free, we got the seats heated. Light 'em up in the ring. Light 'em up. Shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up. Light 'em up in the ring. Light 'em up. Shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up.
It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for another edition of the Shoe Shine Boxing Podcast. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish Drew Evo. Walked away from the screen. He got his dog Dala. Dala's in the building. I did have word that good friend all the way from Texas, Mario Munguia, would be joining us from Infighting Hub. Hopefully, Mario, if you're watching or you're running a little bit behind, hopefully he's going to be joining us on the panel as I got a spot for him. If you're new to the channel, if you recently subscribed, I thank you so much. We have not put out content, boxing related content in approximately 10 days. And if some of you that have recently subscribed, maybe you subscribed because you have come across our channel from the recent news that good friends of this channel, Dala the dog, good friends of this channel, my friend Rodney Finley and his beautiful wife Tanisha of Arizona were unalived tragically in Las Vegas about 10 days approximately ago. And I do have, and I am asking you guys, if you have it in you, in your heart, if you have anything possible that you can donate to the family, they urgently need it. They're short in their need in their GoFundMe account, so they can take care of the family's business and have a beautiful and proper burial. I have linked the GoFundMe account, and today's episode will be dedicated to Rodney Finley and his beautiful wife, Tanisha, guys. For all those people that were affected, guys, I've been praying for everybody. It wasn't easy for me to just bounce back on the air and get back to my channel's primary content. Not at all, because it's such a tragic story that it took a lot of joy out of me, and I'm still having difficulty finding joy in things again, especially something to me that is my great escape, like the sport of boxing. But I'm here back today on the air with Drew because we need to heal and we need to move on to the best of our abilities while we're healing and do things that bring us joy and pleasure. And I'm sure that Rodney and his beautiful wife want us all to be smiling and laughing. So that, again, guys, if you feel inclined to, whatever you could donate to the family, the burial services are tomorrow. I have the GoFundMe pinned in the comments, I believe, and in the description. Guys, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning this morning. I did go back to sleep, and I woke up because who does not love the welterweight division? Brian Norman Jr., one of the youngest boxing champions of, I believe he's currently at 24 years old, the youngest boxing champion, making his defense, going across. It's kind of heroic of him to go across the entire Pacific Ocean to defend his title against hard-hitting puncher John Sasaki, guys. John Sasaki, a lot of people playing Monday morning quarterback going, he wasn't that good. Look, the guy John Sasaki was a very dangerous opponent, a heavy-handed puncher. We thought the fight would be fireworks. I thought it would be a lot more fireworks, but make no mistake about it, Brian Norman Jr.'s performance this morning at 4:30 in the morning for us here on the West Coast was nothing short of spectacular. Do we have a new star in the welterweight division? Good to see you, JC. Let me make sure my comments now. We're going back to the way it was, guys. We're going to try to reinvent ourselves, rebrand ourselves, have a new beginning. Saludos to JC, Fonzie 619 in the building, Sonteo Emilio, great to have you. Wiley Coyote Jimenez is in the building. Great to see everybody, guys. There was an incredible fight this morning. If you're a hardcore boxing fan or a nerd, boxing nerd, as some people describe me and so many hardcore enthusiasts, you woke up, or the first thing you did this morning was check out the highlights. I thought we'd go over some of these highlights. Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. You guys heard the new song. It's actually an old song that I brought up before. I may get a copyright strike for it because I commissioned this female rapper to do a node to the Bay Area. And I had done this like 2-3 years ago. The only thing was that she gave me the song and didn't tell me that the beat belonged to a different artist. I'm hoping that because I cut it less than a minute, that I won't get a copyright strike. We'll see. All right, Drew stepped away. Great news for Drew, guys. He's not using it today, but Drew finally bought a brand new gaming laptop. He's going to be using a brand new camera next week. He's got a great webcam. He's got a great microphone. And hopefully by next week, Drew's audio is going to sound as good as mine, man. We're going to go back to the old school ways here. Let's take a quick look while Drew walks away. Hopefully he's coming right back, guys. This is some highlights from this morning, this incredible performance, guys. 2 knockdowns in round 1. Let's do the screen share. Hopefully everything looks good. All right. 2 knockdowns in round 1, man. John Sasaki never got in the fight. He had to come from behind. You guys could see that first knockdown moments into the beginning of the fight. Like I said, this guy, John Sasaki, who is a heavy-handed puncher, he might be quite limited, guys. I mean, he reminds me of these great Mexican come forward pressure type fighters. And it wasn't long before, obviously, he goes down again. So we're going to go to my Twitter account here. And you guys, in case you did not see the fight today, I'm going to talk about that, guys. Teofimo Lopez, shout out to all the Junior Olympic kids that are here in town in Las Vegas. The Junior Olympics, USA Junior Olympics are here in town. Tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday are the finals. Some of these kids are going to be representing the U.S. and the Olympics someday. It should be really interesting. There's Teofimo today consoling a kid that lost. Teofimo, probably this was his path to before, an outstanding national amateur. And, now he's a world champion. But let's go here to the knockdown. You guys could see it there. An incredible left hook. Devastating left hook that came in the 5th round. John Sasaki throws a lazy jab to the body, and Brian Norman Jr. could not wait to counter. There it is, Drew. An insane 5th round knockout, and I went back to bed. Let me get my co-host back in here. Sonteo Media says, finals on Friday and Saturday. I believe they start at 1 o'clock, and I really want to make it out there to the Las Vegas Convention Center this weekend. Finals. Some of these kids are going to grow up to represent Team USA Boxing and potentially be future stars. Future stars. Fonzie says Sasaki had no footwork, no head movement, no defense, only a sneaky left hook with some decent power, but was nothing for Norman. Let's get my co-host's take. Again, we're waiting to see. Ooh, did I just knock out my fucking camera? What did I do? Drew, you there?
Yeah.
All right, guys. There I am. All right, guys. Drew, let me get your take on this fight, man. Brian Norman Jr., someone you're no stranger to because we are going to get to that controversy. We all are going to remember that there was a massive offer with Boots Ennis, who is now officially moving up to 154. He is going to be vacating the IBF title. So that leaves essentially Rolly Romero is being moved up to full champion status. Rolly Romero is going to be the full welterweight champion. You got the Mexican guy, Mario Barrios. Drew, your dog might be getting in the way of your dog Dala might be getting in the way today of having a great show. Let's get to Drew's take.
Let me say something quick, and I'll take him out real fast. But
all right,
That was the tailor-made for him, that fighter. Now, he's just a guy. He's just, to tell you the truth, he's just somebody that's really going to go forward, go body to body with someone. He's beatable and everything. Someone can take a shot at our box him, he's done.
Tailor-made. He does have Hiraoki, who's an incredible Japanese fighter at 140, is the sole person to have beaten Sasaki, guys. I have to kind of agree with Fonzie. He earned this spot in the welterweight division, which, you know, you guys look at the other divisions that's full of stars, 135 pounds, 140 pounds, just the talent level is so deep. And welterweight, most of the great opponents or potential people to fight have moved up either to 140, 154, or they're just not there. They're just not there. So it's really bothersome as a boxing fan that we cannot get some of these major fights made because of the business aspect of boxing. You know, I mentioned just earlier that a very handsome offer from Matchroom Boxing was made to Brian Norman Jr. approximately a year and a half ago to make a unification fight between both Ennis and Brian Norman Jr., and that wasn't enough money for Brian Norman. It didn't motivate him. After that fight, he made, I believe, $100,000 from ESPN in his very next fight, and you had to scratch your head going, well, what was the motive on that? Why didn't you accept that 1.7? For Brian Norman Jr. now, in a very star-making performance now it looks like the division is his to conquest. The question is, how likely are we to get these super fights at welterweight being made? We have a massive fight in July where Mario Barrios is going to be defending his title against a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao, guys. Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at this video of Manny Pacquiao showing off today or recently. Working out, Manny Pacquiao still has incredible hand speed. You guys can see the hand speed, but he didn't look so good in that kickboxing exhibition recently in Japan. You know, yeah, he got great hand speed, but quite honestly, Mike Tyson looked pretty damn good in all the promotional videos before he fought Jake Paul. So obviously, this is going to be a very exciting card, the PBC card coming up in July. That puts Mario Barrios as someone out of the question. And historically top-ranked Bob Arum, as much as they've recently said they're willing to work across the aisle with PBC, we haven't seen any evidence of it. And PBC, like I just mentioned, currently now, it looks like Raleigh Rolando Romero, after beating Ryan Garcia in New York City, is going to be elevated to full champion status himself. Boxing Scene put this out. Thank you guys, everybody that's in here. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up, it helps us get noticed in the algorithm. We are no longer going to be doing vertical streams for the most part, and that is going to reduce the amount of people that come in here. So I appreciate all the hardcore people. Gold member says, interesting enough, he says, I can't see anyone beating BNJ at 147. Brian Norman Jr., only Rohan Polanco, which is a fighter that Boxing Scene did not even put on the list. Of these 4 people on the list, honest to God, from the performance that Devin Haney gave in New York, I don't see him even as a top 5 welterweight. And I see no evidence that he's carried any power up to the division. He didn't fight at the full weight division at 147. Ryan Garcia's first performance was abysmal, losing to the underdog, a heavy underdog. I mean, most people thought Ryan Garcia was going to spark out Raleigh Rolando Romero, and Raleigh is now going to be elevated to full, I believe, WBA champion status. Those guys shouldn't even be on this Boxing Scene list. Brian Norman Jr., really, truly, at 24 years old, developing into a star, not only in the division, but potential American star. Conor Benn is really interesting, guys. And I was on my friend earlier today, Mario Munguia's chat room on YouTube. Go check him out at Infighting Hub. And I mentioned that I think Conor Benn is really the only legitimate threat right here to Brian Norman Jr., who would make a fantastic opponent for him. He's been very, very explosive, even as high as 154. You saw that he was able to adjust recently fighting in that catchweight fight that made a lot of money. He's still explosive, but can he squeeze back down to 147? Typically, every time we see people go from welterweight all the way up to middleweight, they never come back down and look good. You could look at the history of fighters like Amir Khan and the other British fighter that fought Gennady Golovkin when he went up to 160, broke his eye socket and then came back down. I believe Errol Spence busted his other eye socket. It remains to be seen if Conor Benn can be enticed to come back down and melt back down to 147. Be a fantastic opportunity for Conor Benn to become a world champion at welterweight, where I think his frame and his body, and he's very explosive at the weight, but how safely can he do it? Historically, Conor Benn also has a history of being busted for performance-enhancing drugs, guys. It is what it is. The British Boxing Board of Control tried to suspend him for 2 years. He comes over to America. It makes his debut at 154. Speaking of, I'm waiting quietly for Drew to come back. I think he put his dog away. While we wait for him to give us his take on Sasaki, as I said, we did not do a show earlier this week. Things are what they are. What's happening in my personal life and are continuing happening. I didn't get a chance to comment on this, guys, but Jaime Munguia's B sample came back. Jaime Munguia recently fighting on Cinco de Mayo on the undercard of the Canelo Alvarez Cinco de Mayo fight in Riyadh season. The B sample came back, and as I said, as I predicted, the B sample would show the exact same bullshit that he tested positive for PEDs not once, but twice, including the B sample tested for exogenous testosterone. What is exogenous testosterone? It means it's testosterone that came from outside your fucking body. It means it came from somewhere else. You're not naturally producing it. It don't matter how it got in your system, whether it was the cream, whether it was injection, whether it was an oral. You've been taking some shit to make your testosterone levels spike. And even then, Jaime Munguia's performance, was completely lackluster on Cinco de Mayo. Shout out to the homeboy AC Walker. AC Walker, if you have chance, go back and let me know. I know you do some freestyle and you're pretty damn good at freestyle. Let me know what you think of the girl that recorded that track. I got a new intro that I have never played. Hopefully I don't get a copyright, but it's a female lyricist. Let me know if you think she got bars. Let me take a quick shot while I wait for Drew. I didn't say happy Juneteenth. And as I said, we're still a lot of people in the community out here in YouTube community are still reeling from the tragic news that happened 10 days ago here in Las Vegas for the homie. And I'm going to have a shot. As you guys can see, man, I'm Himador. It's pretty low grade for me, but it's going to do it. It's going to do the business, guys. So I'm going to have a quick shot here. Gold member says Conor Benn without PEDs this week will get laid out too. There's no telling how long he had gotten away successfully. Conor Benn had gotten away. He had a tremendous streak at welterweight, knocking out almost everybody, including a brutal knockout of Chris Algieri, a former world champion who had fought the best, Manny Pacquiao, at his peak. There's no telling how long Conor Benn had been getting away with his PED journey, which he was caught for the drug called enclomiphene citrate, which is a selective androgen receptor modulator, a SARM. And what that does is, unlike exogenous testosterone, it tells your body you're not making enough testosterone. Let's get these testicles to double up. And you guys remember how fit Conor Benn was at 147 pounds, but even it's a miracle how he's bulked up and kind of kept his game physique when he recently fought Chris Eubanks Jr. So, saludos to everybody. Happy Juneteenth. Appreciate it. We'll see when my co-host comes back. And also, if you're still out there, Mario, and you want to join the panel, feel free to do so, guys. So, again, shout out to everybody who's here in Las Vegas for the Junior Olympics. We have a lot of big news that I have not covered. I'm curious right now, where is my co-host? Again, this was from my my Twitter right here. I'm going to share this with you guys real quickly. But Rolando Romero is the new WBA welterweight champion. A lot of people doubted Raleigh, but damn, I guess he's the full champ now. Drew, glad to have you back. Is the Dog Dollar chilling now?
Hopefully.
All right, Drew. Let's get to business right away. There was a fight this morning across the Pacific Ocean, Tokyo, Japan. Brian Norman Jr. of Atlanta defends his WBO welterweight champion. I think almost a clinically perfect five rounds in the bag. A clinically perfect defense of his WBO title. But what do you say, Drew? What did you notice from Brian Norman Jr.? You've now seen him. He destroyed San Diego's Giovanni Santillán. He won the title. He's now defending it and going across the world to defend it against a heavy puncher. Not your boy from Philly, Boots Ennis, but nonetheless a pretty solid guy, a pretty solid opponent. What did you think?
What about the Brian Norman fight?
Right.
I thought we talked about it.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. I mean, I didn't even get your opinion. Let him.
He was tailor made for Norman. Like, dude, like all he does come forward and everything. Like, Brian Norman is a guy that comes forward. He really just bangs with people, and the problem, and if you get the right guy to fight him and everything, if a guy that can take his shots or outbox him, he's really not gonna really half the time, like over half the time, Norman will lose that fight. So like, they still trying to bring Boots' name into it, even though he's out of the division. But the thing about it is, you priced yourself out. You ducked the fight because you priced yourself out. You're not even worth $1.5 million, and they offer you 1.7, and you still didn't want. You said, "Oh, I want more." You outpriced yourself. You ducked the fight, and I think people and the dude's gonna be out there trying to clock chase off his name and everything. Dude, he left the division. Go after one of these other champions now. He moved on to a better division that had peak fighters in the division now. So what's the issue? Like, Brian Norman needs to stop trying to bring Boots Ennis' name in the conversation. He's out of the division now. He already had his chance to fight him, and they offer him way more money than he was worth, and he still priced himself out. He ducked the fight. He wanted to use Boots' name to get himself noticed, and it didn't really do much because he's not fighting another champion. So if he fights, does he fight Roy Romero? Yeah. Does he beat Roy Romero? Yeah, I think he does. But let's look at it like this. Brian Norman's really beatable. Is it KO of the year so far? Yes, KO of the year so
All right.
far. But
Well, that was the title of this thumbnail, Drew. I would love to see Brian Norman run through this division and get a start on the PBC guys. Who is going to be the IBF champion? Is there someone that's going to be elevated? I don't even know. If you guys know who it might be, shout out and saludos to Linda Hernandez. Carlos M, appreciate you for being here, dog. Go check out my boy Chicano Prophet on the YouTube. If you're a mod, man, drop your channel. Feel free to drop your channel. Drew, interesting enough about that knockout, I went to bed almost immediately after. For me, it was 4:30 in the morning. I think the fight was over at 5, and I went back to sleep. And but I was very, very concerned and said a quick prayer for the fighter Sasaki, because recently Angelo Leo, who went and defended his featherweight title in Japan, you guys remember he fought Kamita in the main event, but in the co-main event, a Filipino fighter fought a Japanese fighter, and that fighter was knocked out so viciously in the co-main event of Angelo Leo versus Kamita that his leg was straight up twitching, guys. He was carried out of that ring on a stretcher like Sasaki today. And unfortunately for that fighter, Shigeyaski, I believe that's the name, guys. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. He ended up having to have his brain, his skull, partially sawed off to relieve the pressure from the massive brain bleed. And I don't know what currently is his condition, but he was clinging and fighting for his life. And that's just several weeks ago in Japan. So is it knockout of the year? Unfortunately, sometimes the most brutal knockouts, like the one Angelo Leo landed against Elvinato Lopez, where Elvinato Lopez also suffered a brain bleed. Sometimes they come with real fucking injury, Drew. But let me tell you how bad Sasaki was hurt today. And it's a miracle that he didn't endure some of the type of brain injuries that other fighters have had. It's truly a miracle. And like I said, guys, I was praying for him. He was laid out, taken out in a stretcher. And this is what was reported by somebody in his camp today. Ironically, this was him preparing for the fight in the green room, which is almost identical to the position he was in when he got knocked out. This is coming from his camp, guys. He was hit with a powerful counter left hook, fell backwards, hit the back of his head, and passed out flat on his back. He was carried away on a stretcher and was conscious and able to talk, but was taken to the hospital by ambulance just in case. According to Issei Nakaya, president of his gym, who accompanied him to the hospital, Sasaki had lost his memory of the entire month and a half before the match and said, "I don't even remember that this title match was decided." Sasaki, immediately after this knockout today, has no recollection of the prior 6 weeks. Damn, straight up suffered amnesia. Today, after the fight, Fonzie619 says, "I heard the interview. Norman said there is a hurricane coming and some people put their boots on the run." That was a reference to Boots Ennis. He says that some people put their boots on and run. A dig, as they call it, right? A underhanded dig, a sneak diss at Boots Ennis. Drew, do you think Boots Ennis and Brian Norman are going to ever fight? Obviously, Brian Norman, he's only 24. Boots Ennis had been at welterweight for years, guys, years. Boots Ennis been at that division for years. He cannot make the weight class anymore. Meanwhile, Brian Norman looks ridiculously in good shape. Drew, I don't think they're going to fight. I think Boots Ennis will be a middleweight by the time Brian Norman moves up to 154.
He'll probably ask for fucking $5 million and still won't fight. Brian Norman.
Well, I mean, hey, listen. If he could clean out the division, which is highly improbable due to boxing politics, the last time there was a undisputed welterweight champion was Terrence Bud Crawford. With the fact that Top Rank and PBC have not worked together recently to put on a championship unification, I feel like that shit is unlikely. That being said, it's a perfect time to transition into some very serious news about Top Rank, guys. They got a fight this weekend. Vito Melnecki in New Jersey, not too far from you, Drew. Vito Melnecki making a homecoming performance, which begs the question, why the fuck is Brian Norman Jr., who's a WBO welterweight champion, why is he not getting the opportunity to fight in his backyard? He's made 2 defenses now. Is it 2? Had to go to Japan to make one to get paid. And they still haven't given him a fight in his hometown of Atlanta. And meanwhile, Vito Melnecki, who already has a loss against a Philadelphia club fighter, Drew. Vito Melnecki, you remember that? PBC put him in with a Philly gym guy, just a guy that they thought he was going to blow right through. Nah, that Philly fighter showed Vito Melnecki, you're not ready for this Philly shit. He's got that loss on his record, and yet he's making a homecoming. No disrespect to Vito, but Top Rank, I'm not feeling it. I don't get it. We'll talk about that later in the show, Drew. Top Rank as we know it, July. Good to see you, Crying Hippie. Appreciate you. Good cheer and blessings to you as well. Thank you for hopping in here. July as we know it, man, we've been following young Xander Zaya since his very first pro fight. It's in my intro. I went to his very first fight in Reno, California. Went to his second one at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas, and we've been kind of keeping in touch. He's now 1 fight away from becoming a world champion. That is the last fight Top Rank has on the ESPN contract, Drew. Where is Top Rank going to land? Where is PBC going to land? As it looks like Amazon Prime is going to give up on PBC themselves Two of the top boxing promoters in America look to be homeless by the end of this year. Top Rank by the end of July. Bob Arum says, I got it, man. We good. Bob Arum is saying we good. We got multiple offers from different... I don't fucking know what's going on. I wish I had some insider knowledge. Are they going to Netflix? Is Amazon going to work with Top Rank? Or are they just going to make a silly deal with DAZN and jump on DAZN like Golden Boy, like Matchroom Boxing? What does the great Shammy Drew Evo say?
I don't know. Like, it seems like I think ESPN did, like, they had a disagreement or something, because if you look at it, it looked like Top Rank was really making a lot of mismatch cards. And it just turned everybody off on Top Rank, because when they decided to move up, the competition for some of these guys is just, they just didn't deliver. They got beaten, half of these guys did. So they didn't like how, I guess they didn't like, I could tell they didn't like how Top Rank was matchmaking their fights and everything. So could they have done a lot better? Yeah, Top Rank could have done a hell of a lot better matchmaking. But if we're going to look at it, I don't think Amazon, I think this was a trial base for Amazon Prime to see how the boxing will go on their platform. And Al Heyman just really fucked them over in trying to put every fight on pay-per-view and everything. And the only thing is, it didn't cost Amazon money at all on this deal. All the production had to come out of PBC's pocket. They just were getting paid for the distribution. So Top Rank, I think Top Rank would end up on DAZN or Fox Sports. I think Fox Sports could take Top Rank and everything, and maybe have some fights on maybe the local Fox station too. It could be a good opportunity for Top Rank to have it on Fox Sports and then regular Fox. I'm thinking Top Rank's probably, I think Fox is going to be in play here with Top Rank and everything. To bring back, to see how they can do with boxing and everything. Probably make it a low risk, high reward situation of type of deal.
Fonzie says, and there's the Dog Dollar. I just got a text from Mario. Mario, if you're out there, man, feel free to just hop on right now. Fonzie says, talking about middleweight and super middleweight, what do you guys think of Welgen Mindora? I would like to see him against Pacheco or Plant or lame-ass Berlanga. He's a Filipino fighter, 14-0. I have not seen much tape of him. I'll tell you who I'm really high on the super middleweight division, Drew, and that's Lester Martinez of Guatemala, who's fought on Pro Box. And who is Lester Martinez? Well, he's going to be fighting again. He's Terrence Bud Crawford's. He's part of Terrence Bud Crawford's team, and he's actually helping Terrence Bud Crawford prepare for Canelo Alvarez. And the deal with Lester Martinez is, guys, is something happens to Terrence Bud Crawford between now and their September fight. Lester Martinez is going to hop in as the last-minute replacement. He has a contract to fight Canelo Alvarez. That's fucking amazing. You know how the business of boxing goes. I don't expect Terrence Bud Crawford to become injured or anything, but he is someone to watch, and that says a lot about Lester Martinez. So, Drew, big news this week. Hopefully, our boy Mario will hop on. If not, go check him out at infightinghub.com. Big news. We finally have official announcement about September 13th in Las Vegas. Let me go back to my Twitter account. Of course, Dana White made his announcement. It's official. Who is going to be promoting Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez? Zuffa Boxing, which I believe Zuffa was like what his original. Dana White burst into the scene as a boxing promoter. He was a boxing. He taught boxing, I believe, at a gym, and then he met the Fertittas, and the UFC became a thing. Right? They bought the UFC, and he had prior knowledge. Always wanted to be a boxing promoter. That's it. It's official. It ain't TKO Boxing. It's gonna be Zuffa Boxing, and that big announcement was made. That September 13th, Saturday, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, we got the big super fight of the year, potentially of the decade. If it's a great fight, maybe it's going to be of the decade. The local Vegas UNLV, which we're going to play a major team, they have that date booked. They are currently in negotiation to find a different venue. Maybe they're going to go play, I believe it's Idaho. It might be Idaho. It might be somebody else, Drew. But they ain't going to be playing at Allegiant. The game is being moved, paving the way for Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford in Saturday. What are your thoughts on that, Drew? And also the rumor that the actual fight is going to be a daytime event at Allegiant Stadium in the daytime on Mexican. I'm just happy it's coming to Vegas, and 65,000 screaming fans are going to finally Las Vegas will have an opportunity to fill up a football stadium, 65,000 people. What are your thoughts on that? And the fact it's going to be free. Netflix.
Nah, they can't talk about the pay-per-view numbers and everything because there ain't gonna be no pay-per-view. So, but the daytime thing, I think it's a bad idea. I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing it, because let's look at it like this. You're doing it because UFC is going on at nighttime. The Canelo fight's the bigger event. You haven't, in the UFC, they haven't really done the numbers they've been doing for a while because they don't really have the market fighters anymore. Like Conor McGregor's just about retired.
He's knocking people out in nightclubs. Did you see that clip? Conor McGregor knocking somebody out?
John Jones, he's injured right now. Shane O'Malley, whatever his name is not really. He just lost his past fight, and he's not really that much of a star. Patty, whatever his name, the guy, I don't know. He's not going to become that big of a star. And plus, let's look at it like this. The part of the reason why TKO is $3 billion in debt. So if we look at it like this, people were talking about, TKO is going to sell WWE in the next couple of years and everything. That could be possible, but I look at it as in to get out. Yeah, you probably will have to get out of that, to get out of debt to sell it. But the wrestling fans are hoping that they don't sell it back to Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon will kill the company. But I really think this is a bad idea. You need to have this as a nighttime event. I think that you're knocking the weight, the weigh-in and the rehydration. I think it's not. It's going to be a disadvantage for both guys if you look at it. So I think it's a bad idea. And I think this. I look at it. And this could be something that Turki Al-Sheikh regrets. But I just hope he doesn't have no hour-long concert before the main event, because that's going to turn off a lot of fans.
Not another concert like the concert in Los Angeles when Turki Al-Sheikh made that. I think it was a mistake having a concert in the middle of a very long show. Drew, sorry to interrupt you. That is funny. That made me laugh, guys. Speaking of Canelo versus Crawford, they have arrived in Saudi Arabia and they were actually breaking bread with Turki Al-Sheikh today. They sat down and had a meal with Turki Al-Sheikh. I'll tell you, it's quite impressive that two of the fiercest competitors in this current modern era of boxing were eating across the aisle or across from Turki Al-Sheikh on the same table. The press conference kicks off tomorrow. I will probably get back on the air post press conference to see what kind of vibe it is and come in and give you my commentary on that. Hey, Crying Hippie made a very good comment here in the chat. Appreciate that. He says, even two-time world IBF champ Canine Bundridge says the same thing, bro. Seems boxing is fixed by matches and things. Get picked instead of going up through the ranks to fight the champion. And first of all, Crying Hippie to that, man, I missed the Contender. The Contender series was a fantastic way that they reached across the aisle to all Americans by putting it on network TV. You had Canine. You just reminded me, Canine Bundridge became a champion. Sergio Mora became a champion from the Contender series. Then you had who else? You had Alfonso Gomez fought Canelo Alvarez very early on. And even the Italian fighter, Manfredo, got an opportunity to fight one of the greatest boxers of that era when he went to the UK. Drew, what was his name again? Shit, because the tequila made me forget his name.
What, Joe Calzaghe?
Joe Calzaghe. Man, did I miss Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, you had guys come off the Contender series, become full-time champions, including Ishe Smith of TMT, the Mayweather Club. Ishe Smith, Las Vegas local. He even became a champion. You have no TV show like that has ever produced world champions and really true contenders like the show was named, man. Those are a throwback to good times. Like I said, that press conference kicks off tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think if you want in the comments section. What do you guys think about the Canelo versus Crawford fight happening in Las Vegas? Potentially is going to be a daytime fight so the UFC could do So the UFC could be the headliner in the Noche Latino, which is going to be a UFC card held in Guadalajara. He's going to be doing double duty, a massive fight in Las Vegas, followed by UFC. Drew, it reminds me of the horrific fight with Kovalev where Canelo Alvarez was sleeping at the T-Mobile Arena, taking a fucking nap, waiting for the UFC to get done. Now, obviously, now that Dana White's going to be in charge of both events, he's finally getting his foot in the door in the world of boxing. I feel like it should be flipped the other way around. Like that UFC Guadalajara card is probably... Let me know what you guys think. Are you an MMA fan? Are you a UFC fan? Are the Mexican Latino stars in the UFC as big a household name in the U.S. by putting Canelo and forcing Canelo to be the daytime attraction? I just don't think it makes sense to me.
Well, here's a fair one. This is something we can talk about. So it's being reported that Eddie Hearn said that Turki Al-Sheikh said he was only going to work with Matchroom going forward out of the promotional companies. He wasn't going to work with Golden Boy anymore. He wasn't going to work with Top Rank or PBC. He was going to work solely with Queensberry. He was solely going to work with Matchroom. Now, it tells you one thing. All these boxing promoters seeing what Turkey's really about. And they're like, nah, I'm not feeling this. Like, it seems like he's trying to take control of everything. Or he's messing everything up. I think, I don't know. If this is true that he's willing to just work with Matchroom going forward, then Turkey's influence is going away.
Could be. Let me know what you guys think in the chat or the comment, guys. What you think about everything we just talked about. Obviously, Las Vegas is tourism as a local, guys. It's ridiculously hot right now. We just had a tragedy unfold on the Strip. I guess they say the numbers are down in Las Vegas, and they'll probably be down this summer. A super fight come September, mid-September, is going to be a big boom for the economy in Las Vegas. The weekend should be electric. It should be electrifying. It should mean record numbers of people being here. in mid-September. I am looking forward to it, to the bounce back. Also, the weather cools off in September. I'm telling you guys, I'm looking forward to it more than the Manny Pacquiao PBC card July 19th, because typically July 19th, it's going to be 115 degrees. By the way, Drew, today was 109 fucking degrees, dog. 109 is straight miserable. Living in the desert can be miserable. It could be miserable 109, 110, depending on wherever you are. It's just miserable. It ain't even July yet. It's not even July. Well, Drew, something incredible happened over the weekend. I'm sorry I started to put this out, but Nonito Donaire of the Bay Area, the Filipino Flash, I've had a chance to meet him several times out here in Las Vegas. Just somebody I really looked up to his boxing career. A surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, fought this weekend. He's 42 years old. I asked him recently at the MGM who would be the next Bay Area champ, to which he told me Flores, which I believe was Flores of Stockton, California. Probably questionable, but listen, man, Nonito Donaire can say whatever he wants. He went and fought this weekend in Argentina. You're not going to believe this. 42-year-old Nonito Donaire beats Campos in Argentina. A lot of people didn't even know he was fighting this weekend. He picks up the interim WBA title in Argentina. Not too many people found out. 42 years old. You got 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao. This is going back to what Crying Hippie said about people getting opportunities that don't necessarily merit it. Manny Pacquiao literally hasn't stepped into the ring in nearly 4 years in professional boxing. And he gets an opportunity right off the bat by the WBC to fight for a world title against a very young Mario Barrios. It just doesn't make sense. Then again, Manny Pacquiao is a star, and he is going to probably sell out that fight at the MGM Grand July 19th, because that's the way it is, man. Boxing, unfortunately, is a business first. How serious is Nonito Donaire? Drew, he's now in line to fight for the WBA title at 118 pounds as a 42-year-old. We'll see how much this fight took out of him, but at 42 years old, returns to the ring successfully, is going to be most likely getting one more shot at becoming a world champion again. His best two recent fights coming against, losses against Inoue, the Japanese monster, Inoue. Man, I'm excited to see him back. Could he win another title at 42? We'll see. I mean, it's remarkable for a guy 42 years old to be fighting at 118 pounds, which brings us to this big story that just developed this week. Always had a lot of respect for Paulie Malignaggi. Every time Paulie used to be a commentator, some of his fights in Las Vegas, early 2000s, mid 2000s, Paulie was the kind of guy who always talked to fans. He gave me, early in my podcast career, somewhere around 2017, gave me an hour and a half podcast on a comedy network, because I used to be good friends. Drew, I've told you the story, Drew. I used to be good friends and used to help book acts for the Howard Stern show. Well, him and his corner man, Peter, used to be huge fans of the Howard Stern show. And he gave me a 90-minute interview that the shit we talked about was so, hopefully Paulie remembers that interview back in 2017. He's making his return to fighting, Drew. 44 years old. Paulie Malignaggi, 44. Did I get it right? Coming back to the fight game, guys. Has a great job on, not boxing scene, but their actual boxing promotion company, Pro Box TV. Great job commentating with Chris Algieri. He's got his own channel on YouTube. He's, legendary Showtime announcer. Commentator announces he's signing a 3-fight bare knuckle boxing deal. It did not go well. His performance against Artem, which was Conor McGregor's sparring guy or somebody, what was he? Some dude. Dude, that didn't go well.
Nah.
I'm not sure why Paulie wants to fight again. Do you guys in the chat, guys, have any clue why Paulie thinks it's a great idea to get back into the ring? Not even in boxing, guys. Because remember, Nonito Donaire just fought this weekend at 42 in Argentina on the down low. Not too much attention. But he wants to fight on bare knuckle fighting championship, where last time he went out there, He probably fucked up his hand, and he definitely fucked up his face. What's he thinking, Drew? What's going on in his head, man? Is it that itch? The same itch that's driving Pacquiao?
He doesn't have the power and that's the fucked up thing. Like, I can't see them offering him no more than $100,000 a fight.
It's not a lot of money. Exactly. A bare knuckle fighting, even being the headliner, is it worth it? I mean, the punishment you take to your facial structure in bare knuckle fighting, like you guys have seen it, man. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you guys. What do you guys think about Paulie Malignaggi? I think Fonzie says Pacquiao, Donaire, Holly Holmes making her return in Los Angeles in just 2 weeks, Drew. Holly Holmes making her return on the Chavez versus Jake Paul back to professional boxing in her 40s, former world champion. I think for women, Fonzie, and Holly Holmes, who's a former world champion, I think she'll be all right, especially with the gloves and whatnot and her prior experience, and she's relatively fit. I think she's going to be okay, but despite being able to get in good condition, good physical condition, I think for Paulie is probably after fight number 1. I hope it doesn't go too bad. That's a long contract, 3 fights. Yeesh.
I look at it. It could be damaging because he hasn't fought in a while. He's too old. He's 44 now. He wasn't really a guy that had power, and the footwork might not be there. Like it went away late in his career. He was hittable and everything. So I don't know. The Holly Holm thing, I don't know. I don't know about that either. I think, it's something that we just gotta watch and see. Is it worth it? She left the UFC and said she's not doing MMA anymore. She wants to box again. And I believe she thinks she makes more money boxing than she does in MMA. So we'll see. She became more like a name in UFC that everybody's gonna fight and beat.
Yeah. Wiley Coyote says Artem Lobov is a former UFC fighter. I believe he was associated with the Conor McGregor camp. You guys remember that Paulie went in, became a sparring partner for Conor McGregor in preparation for Mayweather, and he was forced to sign this non-disclosure agreement. They could not talk about what happened in sparring, but then Conor McGregor's camp leaked Paulie getting dropped or some shit, which caused a sensation. And you can imagine how Paulie Malignaggi felt that he signed a non-disclosure agreement, but Conor McGregor, to promote the fight, wanted everybody to know, look, I fucking fucked up this fucking former world champion, 2-division world champion, which really was a complete, that was wrong. This is just a big diss to Paulie. You called him in there to be a sparring partner, and you took maybe, an excerpt of something that happened in a sparring session to humiliate Paulie. Unfortunately, it didn't even go well for Paulie when he ended up fighting his friend, associate or whatever, Artem Lobov, when he made that fight in the bare knuckle fighting. So I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. Crying Hippie also makes a great comment here about Paulie, though. The pay-per-view live coverages he did are awesome. He was funny, on point, and always drops inside tips for fitters while watching. Well, I'm presuming you're talking about Paulie Malignaggi's commentary career. Hey, thank you, everybody, joining us. We're going to talk really quickly about fights coming up this weekend. We had a world title fight this freaking morning. Go out and watch the highlights on YouTube. Brian Norman Jr., an incredible 5-round performance, dominant. I think, Drew, I don't really see anybody beating him in the near future at this division. If he can fight Raleigh, no disrespect to Raleigh, but Raleigh is a heavy puncher. But like John Sasaki, I don't know, John Sasaki versus Raleigh would be a good fight, but Raleigh versus Brian Norman Jr., the guy can counterpunch. He can box. He's very patient. He has thunderous power. I don't see him beating him. I don't know what Mario Barrios has left in the tank. He's had a lot of hard fights recently. I don't know. He does have size probably on Brian Norman, but it looks like Brian Norman is, to me, as I put in the thumbnail, is he the new king at 147 for the time being? It is certainly looks that way, Drew. Vito Malignaggi fights this weekend against a Polish guy in New Jersey, only 4 knockouts. 19-0, 4 KOs. Who's winning this fight? Vito Malignaggi on ESPN Plus this Saturday.
But you know what? New Jersey has Northern Jersey has a good, big Polish population also.
They sure do.
So if you look at it, and plus, like Polish greats like Tomasz Adamek was in Jersey. So.
Yep. And I believe he's going to be there. I believe he was there today at the press conference. So, and if I'm correct, Vito's also Italian, bro. I think he's Italian, like throwback to Arturo Gatti. I think he's Italian Polish. So, I mean, for New Jersey, it's the best of both worlds. Let me know if I'm incorrect, but I believe he's Italian and Polish. And the guy who he's fighting has never fought 10 rounds. I'm going to say this one is very easy to call. Malignaggi comes away in the middleweight division, coming out as a strong contender that he should beat this guy very easily. This is Saturday. Now, if you really want to see a great fight this Saturday in the lower weight divisions, this one's going to be on DAZN, Drew. I'm talking about, did I even get a picture for this one? Let me make sure I let you guys know. Drew, I didn't ask you really quickly your opinion on Jaime Munguia testing positive again in his B sample for exogenous testosterone. What were your thoughts on that?
Bad look, very bad look. It makes it that you couldn't beat that Frenchman that knocked you with 4 knockouts, that knocked you out the first time on a clean. So it was very damaging to his career now, and it took him out of the title hunt. It actually took him out of the title picture because now people are going to think he's a cheat. And like Bruno Squacci, whatever his name is, like I believe he's the second best super middleweight in the division. I think he has a.
That's high praise. Hey, that's high praise for Surachi.
I think he has a style that can cause a lot of fighters problems, and I think a guy that caused Munguia problems and knocked him out, and then in this fight. Can we count this fight because it was really something that gave Munguia more strength, a ton of strength in this fight that helped him out. But Bruno was getting his shots in, and he was actually winning some rounds. It was an 8-4 fight. So if we look at it, I would actually pick Bruno to beat mostly all these guys at 168.
Wow. July 19th. I'm not sure if it's July. Well, listen. Bam Rodriguez is the main event in Texas, and it's going to feature a super middleweight fight. You have who's fighting in that one? My friend Francisco Esparza of Las Vegas is going to be the cut man for McCumbee. Yeah, that McCumbee could be a guy. Hey, I would love to see McCumbee against someone like Surachi. I think that's a great fight. Also, Berlanga's fight is coming up. And there's been some very interesting news about that Berlanga fight. First of all, the fight's going to take place in Queens in a tennis stadium. And there was a lot of going back and forth because, Shakur Stevenson is on the card and they wanted to have a smaller ring. Turki Al-Ashik has said the era of running and boxing is over, making a reference, in my opinion, to Shakur Stevenson's prior history in the ring of using his athleticism and being defensive. Bro, the ring is not going to be small. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the 18x18 ring that would force the offensive action. So we'll see how that fight goes. A lot of interesting things happen in the super middleweight division. Crying Hippie, it would be a pleasure if you have a connection to former champion K9 Bundridge to have him on the Shoe Shine. It would be a true pleasure. My Instagram, if you want to rewind it back, you can touch me at my Instagram at shoeshine_boxing on Instagram this weekend. Do not miss this fight, guys. Somehow watch the replay. Galal Jafai. I can't remember. Was Galal a former champion, Drew?
I think so.
Me either. I can't remember. Listen, he's most famously known. He's a UK fighter who just recently beat Sonny Edwards, like very impressively. Sonny Edwards, a former world champion. Sonny Edwards used to be the shit. Bam Rodriguez seemed to have destroyed him. Well, Galal Yafai is doing quite fine in his career, and he's taking on a former strawweight unified champion, former champion from Mexico. All right, strawweight champion, now moving up in weight. This Mexican fighter, Francisco Rodriguez of Mexico, like I said, former unified strawweight champion, moving up. Drew, he has, in my opinion, beaten Ioka, one of the greatest Japanese fighters of this era. Ioka did not get the nod. But if you go back and watch that fight, all the pundits think that this Mexican fighter who's fighting Yafai this Saturday, probably lunchtime for us here in the States, beat Ioka, did not get the nod, interestingly enough. But remember, he is a two-time unified champion. Then he goes on to fight Nakatani. Nakatani has knocked out everybody. He is a fucking beast, and everybody can't wait to see Junto Nakatani fight Inoue. This little Mexican strawweight is one of the few people in recent history to go the distance against Junto Nakatani of Japan. You cannot have a better resume to prepare you for someone whose best win is really Sonny Edwards. This is going to be a fucking fantastic, high output, lots of action fight Saturday. If you can't watch it, if you don't have DAZN, the app, make sure you go on YouTube when the fight's over sometime mid-afternoon and see if somebody has posted the fight on YouTube. I'm just telling you, oftentimes people will post the fight immediately after. Drew, I'll have you go first, man. Now that I told you everything, who's winning this fight Saturday?
Fonz, you know what to do.
Fonz got the wrench. Well, she might be timed out till next week, but we'll be back on Monday.
You're on it, Dave. Come on, man. You got
Who's winning this fight? Saturday afternoon. Yafai versus Rodriguez, Matchroom Boxing on DAZN.
Man, it's something. I'm gonna go with Rodriguez.
See,
I think Rodriguez may pull it off.
I think he might pull it off, guys. This is one of those fights where someone moving up, the strength of the resume, the fact that he was able to go the distance against Junto Nakatani, who now fights at 118, who is on the steps of fighting the great champion, the monster Inoue. I'm gonna pick the Mexican. I'm not trying to be biased, but I'm gonna pick the Mexican. But listen, Yafai is gonna give him a fucking great fight. I'm very excited to see this fight. Again, guys, I thank everybody. We went an hour and 6 minutes, our first show back. I appreciate it, everybody who's been riding with the Shoe Shine. We're gonna go back to horizontal streams, so we're gonna be doing away with the vertical things and hopes to get more boxing commentators, other people that are on this YouTube platform, as well as TikTok and whatnot, to join us as guests. Because we're going horizontal, the numbers of people watching it, I'm relying on you. Share the show with people. Let them know, hey, when the Shoe Shine is live, it's a good place to come and talk. Everybody's welcome. Casual fans, hardcore fans, come in here and talk, man. Share the channel. Share that we're doing the show 2 times, maybe 3 times a week this summer. Let everybody know. Again, I have a GoFundMe linked. Unfortunately, friends of the show was just a tragic incident in Las Vegas. You can read about it. He had been featured on my show before, good friend of the show. If you guys can help the family out, the GoFundMe is in my link in the description of the show. $5, $10, it doesn't matter. The family needs help. Again, prayers to everybody who is still feeling tremendous amounts of trauma and pain from that horrific incident that happened right here in Las Vegas. I'm Dave in the 702. If you love boxing, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button and share that show. Drew, any final thoughts, man, on what's been going on this week, man? Anything on the sport of boxing bothering you?
Not really. I look at it, man. Boxing's going downhill as it is. It's time to get focused on football and everything that's coming up. And I got what I needed, and I'm going to start streaming more again on Twitch and everything. So we see how that goes.
There you guys have it. Drew, make sure next week we'll drop the link in the show. Drew also has a channel on YouTube. I'll be sharing that next week as we're going to wrap it up. I'll maybe drop it in the comments. Until then, keep tuned. Make sure you hit the notifications. I may come live tomorrow after the press conference in Saudi Arabia. Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford. If I don't see you then, we'll be back on Monday night with special guests. Have a blessed weekend, everybody. Take care. We're out. Peace.